If you're a short-term rental owner and you've been refreshing your listing over and over again and you are not seeing an increase in bookings, then this episode is for you. Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Within Reach. I am Erica Brown. I am a serial entrepreneur and real estate investor, and I teach people how to buy and scale in real estate without burning out, without losing all y'all money, okay? I drop episodes every week. I'm giving you good, no fluff, no gatekeeping type content. So be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. So I invest in all different types of strategies. I do short-term rental, mid-term rental, long-term rental, Section 8, co-living. I do everything. And I specifically live in one of the markets that's expecting the World Cup. So we're expecting the World Cup this coming up in 11 different US cities. I have short-term rentals in Atlanta, and I've been hearing so much about people not getting bookings, people expecting a lot more revenue that they're expecting. And I just have not had the experience. So recently someone made a post about it, and I was like, yeah, we're making about $12,000 on one property in June. They're like, what? And so I figured I should probably do an episode to break down, to give y'all some tips to help you to get some bookings this summer. Okay. So if you aren't familiar with short-term rental, whether it's you do Airbnb or whatever other platform, VRBO, short-term rentals, especially if you live in a warm climate, you should be making the most money possible in the summer, June and July. Okay. Those are top travel seasons within the US. Okay. And so from a revenue standpoint, even when I'm working with my clients, I've been working with a number of my clients on helping them get their short-term rental set up for the summer, because I know if you're ready to make some money in short-term rental, this summertime is when you make the most money. Again, if you live or invest in mountain climates, that may be different. But for the most part, especially if you invest in warmer climates, the summertime is when you're going to make the most money. That's when people are vacationing the most. You have 4th of July, you have the holidays, all the things. Okay. From an income standpoint, if you're a short-term rental owner, you need to not only expect to make more money, you need to raise your prices in the summer. Okay. That's the thing. If you're in one of these host cities and you're confused, why am I not getting hits? Why is my listing not getting bookings? So I'm going to give you a couple tips on something you can do today to update your listing and to hopefully get some more bookings going into the summer. Here's something to consider. The sentiment from hotelers and also short-term rental owners are that bookings are not as high as people expected. There are various things that are barriers right now. You have visa issues, you have the geopolitical climate. All of those things can factor into people not wanting to travel to the US. Okay. So most hosts are seeing actually more local travelers staying shorter nights than more than the international travelers that we were expecting staying longer stays. For us, we started getting bookings like December. So we prepared our listing 6 months ahead of time. We knew that the World Cup was coming. We went ahead and increased our prices. We focused on getting as many 5-star reviews as possible because we knew that will push our listing to the top. Our particular house, I specifically turned this property into a short-term rental because I did market research, and I knew that within my market in Atlanta, there's so many 1-bedroom listings and there's so many 3-bedroom listings. So anything in between would do really well. This particular property is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, plus it has an ADU on it. And so we knew that was a unique property. So that's why we decided to put it on short-term rental. So 6 months ago, we increased our prices and we started seeing bookings, a lot of bookings around Christmas time, around December. So we did see a little bit of bookings cancel, maybe, but not much, just like maybe one booking canceled, like $1,000 or something like that. So, but we were able to make it up with another traveler. During the times where the World Cup is here, we're doing pretty good. We had a vacancy the first week of June, and we have a vacancy the last month of July that we're working on filling. But besides that, we are booked and busy. So if you are not booked and busy, here are some things you want to look at today. Number one, do you already have reviews? If you are brand new to the platform and you don't have any reviews, that's pushing your listing down. Okay. One thing that you could have done earlier was to rent it out to a friend or, try to get some reviews, because reviews is what's going to push up your listing. Reviews is going to assure people that your house is a good house to stay. Because think about it. So many new Airbnb listings flooded the market. We seen the same thing back when the Super Bowl came to Atlanta. We got booked then too. And so many people jacked up their prices way up, started new listings, didn't have any ratings, and they didn't get booked. So you got to already have some reviews, whether that is you rent it out to a friend or whatever. You got to have some reviews that helps to increase your listing. Here's number 2, and I've kind of already alluded to it. Your prices are probably too high. You got folks being greedy. Okay. You got folks being super greedy. You have to price according to the market. Okay. Not according to what you want, according to the market. A lot of people did not get booked because your prices were too high. We increased our prices about 20%, but we did not increase our prices like 50%. That's why we're getting booked. Because my goal is to get booked, and we are making more money than we typically make. But I don't ever want the property to be sitting there. The property needs to be making money every night. Okay. And so there's a good chance that your prices are too high, which is why you have not gotten booked. So if you're wondering what your price should be, then you go to Airbnb, figure out a comparable listing, a listing that is in your neighborhood, it's in your same condition of your property, same bedroom and bath. What are those prices going for right now? And then price your listing right underneath that, especially if you don't have reviews. You want to be priced right underneath your competitors so that if people have to choose, they're going to choose you. Also, this is really, it's self-explanatory, but we have to repeat it over and over again. Pictures, 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 pictures. Guys, real estate photography is not super expensive. You can pay a photographer $100, $150, $200 for professional pictures. You need professional pictures. Just taking pictures on your cell phone is not going to cut it, because again, you are in competition with everybody else. And if you live in a market of one of the World Cup markets, you are extremely in competition with lots of other people. So investing in professional pictures is huge. And I love it because if you do it one time, then regardless of how you use the property in the future, whether you pivot to long-term, midterm, whatever, you have those good pictures as assets that you can continue to use in the future over and over again. Invest in decent pictures, okay? It is worth the investment. You want to use your time working on upgrading the listing, making sure it's priced right, if you're not a professional photographer, don't be taking them pictures, okay? That is not a good use of your time. Pay the man, pay the woman, okay? Pay them. And then keep that set of pictures for the future, okay? Professional photography is key. If you want to compete with the other top listings in your area, you need to have professional pictures. Lastly, it seems simple, but we are in the world where if people have to guess, they keep scrolling, okay? Your listing needs to include all the important information. If a person will look at your listing and they would have to guess how far your house is from the next major destination, how far your house is from the stadium, don't say miles, 0.25 miles. 0.25 miles may be 20 minutes in Denver, but in Atlanta, that's an hour, okay, because of traffic. You need to have the number of minutes from your major destinations in your listing. Any questions that may come up, like, does the house have a main bathroom downstairs? What is the parking situation? You need to answer and assume the questions that they're going to ask you, and then make sure those are listed in the listing description. People have questions. Most times they're not going to go out of their way to ask. They're just going to swipe to the next listing. And so it's important for you. And this is the beauty of community, right? One of the things that I encourage my clients to do, they send me their listings when they get them set up. And then I send them to my coaches, and all of us who are extremely experienced, we look and we dissect the listing, whether it's a short-term rental or it's a traditional rental. We dissect the listing and we give them feedback that they may not have thought of to ensure that they're not missing anything. That's the power of community. You want to assume every frequently asked question that they have, because if they have a question and you did not answer it in the listing, they're going to skip your listing. Okay. especially if you don't have reviews and you're not priced appropriately. All right, so was this episode helpful for you? What are the questions that you have about short-term rentals? Drop them in the comments if you're watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you at the next episode.